In today's episode, I'm going to share how persisting in the wrong perspective about self doubt grows the confidence gap that we're trying to close, layers on low self worth, low self esteem, and kills confidence. So, today, I want to show you how having a healthy perspective on self doubt can actually close the confidence gap so that you can liberate yourself from self-inflicting barriers that are holding you back from pursuing your deepest dream and realize your potential, turn your dream into a viable source of income, and create the greater impact you want to see in the world. That's all coming up next, right here on Stop Doubting Your Dream. Stay tuned. If you have a deep-rooted dream you long to pursue but feel held back by self-doubt, the possibility of failure, and the relentless demands of everyday life, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Jeff Meyer, and I know that taking the leap of faith to make your dream a reality and overcome the seeds of doubt planted by those who say it's too risky can feel overwhelming and discouraging sometimes, and cause you to question whether or not your dream is worth pursuing at all. But the truth is, it doesn't have to be an either-or choice. It's possible to pursue your dream without risking your stability or security in the process. And each week on the show, I'm going to show you and give you practical action steps you need to turn your dream into a viable source of income so you can live without regret, reshape your future, and create the meaningful change you want to see in the world, all without leaving your day job. So if you're someone who's ready to stop doubting your dream and start living it, let's dive in. Welcome back. This is episode number 59. And today we'll see that there is actually a wrong perspective on self-doubt. In fact, there's a few wrong perspectives. And how considering other perspectives on self-doubt can actually turn self-doubt from a hindrance to a helpful partner in the dream pursuit. In my Dream Accelerator coaching program, my group coaching program, we have a section called Leveraging Fear. For today's sake, self-doubt is one of those things that is covered up by fear. It hides and lurks underneath fear. So in this section, Leveraging Fear, today we could say leveraging self-doubt, we talk about understanding, undermining, and using self-doubt as a fuel to launch your dream. What I do in this section of the program for people is in our content and in our training and then in our coaching that happens weekly. We have the clients state an unchallenged phrase that they speak in their heads that is keeping them stuck. And then we have them, once they understand how fear and self-doubt work, we have them reframe that statement and then pick a mantra or a slogan that helps them, when they say that in their heads, challenge it, recalibrate it, and help them move forward using it. So let me give you a few examples how this works. So one client said, "This is so frustrating." Usually it was around technology for him. "This is so frustrating. It'll never work. I can't figure this stuff out. I'm so stupid." Restating that in a positive reframe, the client said this: "Yes, this is frustrating right now. I won't know if it will work unless I try. I am not stupid. I've figured out lots of things, and I have people who can teach me." Do you see the difference? All right, here's another client. "My music isn't well known enough. No one will be interested." Change that to, "It's true that my music isn't well known. That's because I haven't shared it. When I share it, there will be people who are interested. and others who are not. All right, one final example. A client came in, had this dream to write a children's book, but all she had ever written before were articles and publications for academia. So here's what she said in her head: I write articles and publications for academia. I can't write a children's book. Here's what she reframed that into: I believe in lifelong learning. This writing challenge has given me the chance to put my highest calling into practice. It's why I'm in academia. It's why I'm a mom. And there is no one better to write this book than me. My kids will discover the beauty of their identity and calling, and I will get to put mine into practice. Others will benefit too. All right. So those are some examples of what happens with our clients. The bulk of this podcast today is I want to help us get a proper perspective on self-doubt that can actually help us use our self-doubt as fuel in our dream pursuit. So how do we get there, like those three clients examples helped us see? How did they get there? It is an excruciatingly painful thing to be stuck in self-doubt. And layer on top of that an improper perspective on it, we start to feel things that are untrue and say things and believe things that are untrue about ourselves. That's why it's so important for us to get a proper perspective on self-doubt. Self-doubt is so often misunderstood and misapplied. The three things I want you to understand before we jump into some of the misconceptions. All right. These are true things, three truths about self-doubt, about fear, that it's really important for us to get a handle on. Number one, self-doubt is natural. It's a part of the human experience. It is going to attach itself to your dream, to your idea, to anything new that you attempt to pursue. Okay, so self-doubt is natural. Self-doubt is also, this is the second thing I want you to hold on to. It's also not only natural, it's deceptive. Self-doubt and fear, they do not like to be seen. They hide. They disguise themselves so as not to be recognized. So don't resist it. That all that does is keeps it in the dark. Self-doubt is natural and it's deceptive. And then the third thing I'd like to help you remember, as I try to help my clients remember, is that self-doubt is a horrible barometer. It's a horrible barometer to weight whether we should go for something or not go for something, whether we're on target or off target. The presence of self-doubt does not mean you're off target. The absence of self-doubt does not mean that you're on target. It's a horrible barometer. Don't judge your dream based on the self-doubt that you're experiencing. All right, those are three truths about self-doubt. Here are some of the ways I see self-doubt being misunderstood and misapplied. All right, and there's 6 of them today that I want to share with you. Get a piece of paper out, write down these 6. However you can help yourself remember them. Go back, review this podcast over and over again until you challenge these misconceptions about self-doubt. Many people think that self-doubt is always a bad thing. That's number one. That self-doubt is a bad thing. Now, while excessive self-doubt can be harmful and can hinder personal growth, a healthy dose of self-doubt can actually be beneficial. It can motivate us to work harder, strive for excellence, try to overcome the self-doubt, and it can help us avoid complacency. It's not always a bad thing. Number two, misconception about self doubt is that it's a sign of weakness or insecurity. As I said earlier, self doubt is a natural and common experience for everyone, regardless of their level of confidence or success. It's important to remember it's a part of the human experience, and that having self doubt doesn't make someone overly weak. And it doesn't mean that you're incapable of achieving your goals, learn new things, risk, and try something fresh. That's number two. It's misconceived as a sign of weakness or insecurity. Number three, third misconception about self doubt is that it is something that can be completely eliminated or conquered. I see so many people saying, I got to get through, I got to work through my self doubt and get rid of it before I can pursue the dream. It's not going to happen. Like I said earlier, it's a normal part of the human experience, and it's unrealistic to expect to never experience self doubt again. It's going to come up again and again and again. And rather than trying to eliminate it completely, it's way more productive to learn how to manage and navigate self doubt in a healthy way. And I suggest be able to actually use it to your advantage. It's one of the free, renewable sources of fuel and motivation given to us as human beings. All right, number four. Somehow people have bought into the lie that self doubt is always a result of one's own shortcomings or failures. Now, it's true that self doubt can be triggered by mistakes or setbacks. It can also arise from external factors such as pressures from the outside, societal norms, unrealistic expectations that perhaps we've had from childhood or from others outside of ourselves who are pushing us to fit into their mold, or even comparison to others. It's not always the result of your shortcomings or failures. It can come from the outside. All right, number five, misconception about self doubt. You still with me? Number five is it is a fixed trait that cannot be changed. I'm stuck with it. Self doubt is not a permanent aspect of one's personality or character. It can be managed, it can be challenged, and it can be flipped and used with practice and self reflection. It doesn't have to be this way. And finally, number six, self doubt. A misconception that I see over and over again is that it's a sign of a lack of confidence or self-esteem. How many times in the entrepreneurial process I have heard people start to suppress themselves, and I just suffer from low self-esteem because I have self-doubt. I'm just a person that lacks confidence. Well, it doesn't have to be that way. You are not defined by self doubt, even though it's a part of the human experience. Self doubt and confidence can coexist. In fact, one of my workshops, I say fear and courage are kissing cousins. Fear and courage come along for the ride in any entrepreneurial pursuit. Experiencing self doubt does not necessarily mean that you lack confidence or self esteem. Rather, it can be a natural part of the process of growth and self improvement. And sometimes we can allow self doubt to direct us to a higher source of strength and wisdom in community, other partnerships with people that can help us. And for me, as a follower of Jesus, it can help me sometimes redirect my gaze to my Creator and realize that He has called me to be a co creator with Him. Now, what I want to share with you is that when we acknowledge and look at these misconceptions about self doubt, that it's always a bad thing, it's a sign of weakness or insecurity, that it's something that can be completely eliminated or conquered, that it's always a result of one's own shortcomings or failures, it's a fixed trait that cannot be changed, or number six, it's a sign of lack of confidence or self esteem. We shine the light on truth. Instead of allowing myself to stay stuck in the darkness, I gain a new perspective and it makes me go, I wonder if that's true. Let me think about that for a little bit. Maybe there is a different perspective. Maybe I need to give that a try. Like I used to have a perspective as a kid that guacamole was awful. I've grown out of that. Love guac. That perspective kept me from guacamole for so many years. Even as a young adult, I had these crazy perspectives that red wine was awful, olives, ugh, that bourbon tasted like medicine. I didn't want to try it. Now, I still think I have a pretty healthy perspective on anchovies. I have a friend that always is trying to talk me into it. Go ahead, convince me that anchovies are good, but I'm not putting them on my pizza or on my salad. All right. Now, there is an enemy that does not want you to dream, an enemy that does not want you to fulfill a dream or to see it become a reality. And this enemy will use every angle he can think of to keep you from taking action, including having you buy into these 6 misconceptions about self doubt that keep you from taking a step forward. It's one of the things that you notice when you think about all 6 of those points. You buy into them, it's going to keep you right where you are, keep you from taking action. So, we want you on this show to take action. So, if you think about these 6 misconceptions about self doubt, here's what I want you to do. I want you to test the viability of what I'm saying. All right. The next time you are struggling with self doubt, what do you make that be? What do you believe about that, about yourself? Come back to these 6 signs and go, okay, are any of these being played out? Am I believing that somehow I'm just stuck here? It's a fixed trait and I'm one of the people that's just never going to be able to do it because it can't be changed. I'm just going to always suffer with self doubt. Are you blaming it on some mistake you made or some setback? And you say, see, it's proving itself that I can't accomplish this, right? And maybe you can evaluate that and go, you know what? People make mistakes all the time. Entrepreneurs make mistakes all the time. Could there be some other reason why I'm giving in to this self-doubt? Or maybe you self-identify as someone who struggles with self-esteem. Maybe it has nothing to do with how you view yourself overall. It's just self-doubt. And there is a way to move forward and use it as fuel. Now, I am so grateful that you have chosen to be with me today for another episode of Stop Doubting Your Dream. If you'd like to take the next step in bringing your dream to life, today's what I want to do is have you drop me an email requesting the slide deck that we use in the Dream Accelerator to help people learn how to use self-doubt as fuel instead of giving up under its pressure. All right. So it's a slide deck, maybe 10 or 12 slides. We use it in our teaching, part of our content, and I'm willing to give that as a part of our program to you free. All it's going to take for you is to send me an email, jeff@jeffmeyercoaching.com, and I'll send you the slide deck. All right. And we can have a conversation about it if you'd like. It's helpful, not helpful. If you want to learn how it applies, let's have a conversation. I'm inviting you to that today. Grateful for you taking the time to listen to this. And I really want to help you understand and shine the light on self-doubt, because it's a killer if we just keep giving into these 6 lies. Okay. If you like this show, if it's been beneficial to you, would you do me a favor? Would you share this episode with a friend? All right. Share this episode with a friend if you got some benefit out of the show. I appreciate you doing that early on this relaunch process, because I really want to help people put their dream into action, because the world needs what they have to offer. All right. And this podcast can help them. Next week on the show, we're going to discover how to turn your can't into can, so that you can freely pursue what you were designed to do for the welfare of others. There's a who to your dream, and the who is bigger than you. Join me back here next week. Until then, the journey towards your dream begins today. Take action with a single step.